Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Do y'all remember last year, the Indiana Fever made the playoffs, and for the first time, the league has had actual basketball fans, and they all started wondering, what the hell is going on with these playoffs? It's best of three, but you're playing the first two games at the same place. Therefore, one team may not even get a home playoff game. That is the most absurd thing real sports fans have ever seen. And it has changed. We're going to get into that in a moment with a comment from Andraya Carter that absolutely blows my mind. Hey, appreciate you being here. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19, of course. So, again, for those who didn't notice last year, the best of three, it was the first two games were played at the higher seed, right? So if it's 1 versus 8, you play in the first two games. The Fever was 3-6. They played the first two games at Connecticut. They lost them both, so they never even played a home game. Big uproar. Actual sports fans say, "What are you doing?" That changed this year. It is now 1-1-1. Eventually, my belief is, eventually the first round is going to go to 5 games, and it's probably going to be 2-2-1, or it could be 2-1-1-1. It's more expensive, but there's been changes in that. You look at other sports that have done more games. There has been best of fives where it's been 2-2-1, and it's been 2-1-1-1. Best of seven. A lot of times, best of seven was 2-3-2, and then it went 2-2-1-1-1. But most likely, it's going to go to 5. How they divide it out, I don't know. But of course, in best of three, it has to be 1-1-1. All teams who are in a playoff spot should get a home game. The higher seed still has the advantage because they have 2 of the 3 games at home. Andraya Carter, bless her little heart, doesn't seem to understand that very, very basic concept. So let's take a listen to this. She's going to try and explain why this is wrong.
I will admit, when I first heard the change, I was excited about it. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Everybody gets a home game. That's great. But as I've watched it now play out and sitting here today, after watching those great games last night, I don't like it. I feel like this format, whether you win, the reward for winning isn't good enough. And the punishment for losing isn't bad enough. Think about this. Just hear me out for a second. As a higher seed, why do we play games in the regular season? Why do we even have a regular season? Because seeding matters. When you are the higher seed, you get 2 chances at home, and you can close it out at home. But if you lose to the lower seed, you should lose the opportunity to close out at home. If you lose to the lower seed, think about it. The Aces lost to the lower seed. They lost to Seattle, and they still get to go close out at home. I don't like that. As the higher seed, you should close out at home in 2 games. And if the lower seed snatches that from you on your home court, you lose home court. You should lose it.
Drea, I love you. You're my sis. But you lost me in this argument the moment you said, after watching last night's great games. That was the whole point.
No.
At one.
All right, we got to back this up just a little bit. We got to listen to this one part again. Bear with me. I'm going to see if I can find it.
Home in 2 games. And if the lower seed snatches that from you on your home court, you lose home court. You should.
All right, back up a little more. Sorry about that.
Lower seed, they lost to Seattle, and they still get to go close out at home. I don't like that. As the higher seed, you should close.
Yeah, Andrea, they get to close out at home because they snatched home court advantage away from the higher seed. Listen, your brain is dribbling out of your ears. You are complaining about the common sense playoff system that has been, and this is again, the WNBA is so disconnected from sports reality. They have never had to do anything the right way. This is absolutely mind-boggling to me that someone can be getting paid by the so-called worldwide leader in sports to talk about this on air and have no idea what it is that she is talking about. You play the regular season, first of all, to see who even makes the playoffs, Andraya Carter. Okay. Then you have seeding, and there's your reward. One, it is the seeding. If you are the number one seed, you play the eighth, or at least according to record. Hey, you know what? Sometimes that ends up not being a great matchup for the top seed. These things happen, but you get to play the team that is the supposed worst in the playoffs, according to record for that regular season, and you get home court or home field advantage. And what does that mean? It means in the odd number of games, you have one more game at home. It does not mean you get to play enough games at home first to clinch and win that round of the playoffs without the other team even getting an opportunity to play at home. Yes, the away team could win the first game, and now they get to go home and they have an opportunity to close out at home. That is simply the way it has always worked, whether it's five games or 7 games. That is the way that it works in sports. That is just simply how it happens. Now, I'm going to do something crazy. But again, I always try to be fair on here. You know, I've given Shanae a hard time on multiple occasions for some of the stuff she has said, but I'm going to play this from her here because I think she has a fantastic take on this. I want to get your reactions as well. And of course, I'm going to add to it.
Assist. But you lost me in this argument the moment you said, after watching last night's great games. That was the whole point.
No.
At one point in the WNBA, we had single elimination. That was crazy. Now, I think the next idea is maybe best 3 out of 5.
Janae.
But right now, I'm not mad at it because if you make the playoffs, you deserve an opportunity to play at home. And I do believe that the lower seed, and what
Janae.
we're saying is the 1s, 2s, and 3s, starting off at home is great. Playing game 2 on the road is more fair because otherwise depriving a team from being able to even be at home after they worked hard to earn a playoff spot is even crazier. And on top of it, it's even crazier for the fans who showed up over the course of the regular season to support said team and not see their team in the postseason.
Okay, so
I'm happy.
There you go. First of all, by the way, I can see here the WNBA. I wasn't sure how they've done it, but I know in other leagues as well, there's been both used. They are 2-2-1-1-1 in the best of 7, not 2-3-2. And that 2-3-2, I always felt was even harder on the away team who already has to win at least one game on the road. And then when you make it 2-3-2, even at home, it is really, really difficult to win 3 games in a row in that situation at the playoffs. So it's almost like you had to win 2 on the road. So that's when leagues would switch to 2-2-1-1-1, which is fair. Shanae also has another great point. You play all season for seeding. You also play to make the playoffs, and to have a team make the playoffs and not get at least one game in front of their own fans is absolutely ridiculous. And I love that she pointed out that Andraya talked about how great the games were last night. Look, you would not have had, forget who won or who lost. You would not have had, and this has nothing to do with the product on the court, but I will shout out the fans. You would not have had the electric environment, the electric atmosphere that you had in Seattle. If it was 2-0, they might have never played in Seattle. You would not have had it in Golden State if it wasn't 1-1-1, because they might have never played in Golden State. And you certainly wouldn't have had it, because we know we didn't have it last year. You would not have had the Caitlin Clark crazies, the Caitlin Clark Kent crazies in Gamebridge going absolutely bonkers the way they did in that second game, elevating their team to victory, because that is how it's supposed to be. That is why it is favored to play at home. That is why you play the regular season, to not just get the higher seed, but home court advantage. And yeah, that means the other teams take advantage of it when they play at home as well. But guess what? Now Seattle has to go back to Vegas. The Fever have to go back to Atlanta. And now you have that in the elimination game. You have that electric atmosphere for the team that earned the right to play that deciding elimination game at home. That is what it's about. Believe it or not, a lot of playoff rounds don't get to that final game, but that is the game that you play for the higher seed to get. It is that game. You may finish a team off earlier, but if it goes to that elimination game, you want that game at home. And that is what is always guaranteed in this. They play that final game at home. Think about it. Think about it this way. Let's flip it. Let's go back to last year's format. Now, as Caitlin Clark fans, as Fever fans, we would have loved if they stole a game in Connecticut, right? Because then what happens? The team who had the lower seed gets to play the elimination game at home. And that's the only thing the big thing I would add to what Shanae said. And the big thing I would say to Andraya Carter is if it is not a sweep, then the team with the lower seed gets the elimination game at home. And that is absolutely insane to embrace something like that. This blows my mind. I don't understand. We have got to do ESPN, you have got to do a better job with your hires. This has gotten absolutely ridiculous. You want to elevate the WNBA to the next level. Your analysis, I believe this was a halftime in the game. Your analysis, this crew, and again, I will shout out Shanae on this because I thought she did a fantastic job in her analysis, in her rebuttal to what the nonsense Andraya Carter was spewing. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And I think, and it's funny because Andraya herself said it, I will add the one final thing, is I think the 1-1-1 added a lot to the WNBA playoff atmosphere in the first round that was lacking last year. Absolutely, without a doubt. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate it. As always, thank you for checking out this video. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Really, really do appreciate it. Go have the day you deserve. I will talk to you later.